Maureen after Maureen leaves. So keep your question in mind. And what happens at the end of the book, you can't ask. You have to buy the book and figure it out that way. So Maureen Asantewaa was the debut novel, 10th Year in the Sun, is inspired by her experiences and the connections she made in her life at home and abroad. Maureen describes the novel as being at the intersection of women's fiction and West African culture. Maureen?
This is my second time having a reading, but still nervous, but thank you guys for listening, your attention. This work means a lot to me. It's kind of personal. I used to live overseas. I lived in 3 different countries before moving back to the States. And each time I moved, I was all alone, didn't know anyone, and my friends became my family because I was far away from my family. And we really counted on each other. We spent a lot of time together, holidays and such. And through that, I found the importance of sisterhood. So this novel is about 4 friends. They make a promise to reunite. And like me, the main character is West African. And there are a lot of different West African symbology throughout the novel, and I can tell you guys more about that during the Q&A. But I'll read the prologue, which gives you an idea of the setup and also a few main characters. As Adoma approached the harbor, she realized their promise had come true. An offhanded comment during a girls' night in their 20s sparked a remarkable proposal. Adoma suggested that 10 years from that evening, they drop everything they were doing and reunite somewhere in the world. Adoma recalled spinning the large globe, trying to focus her alcohol-laden eyes on the orb as it revolved beneath her finger. Wherever it landed would be their destination. She lightly pressed the surface as oceans and land masses spun past, wondering what would they do if her finger landed in Siberia or some other remote destination. As friction caused the globe to stop, the 4 best friends leaned in to see their destination. "Ladies," Adoma exclaimed, peering at a small dot off the coast of East Africa, 10 years from this date, we meet in the Seychelles. Giggling like teenagers, they clapped in a drunken stupor. In time and distance, it had all seemed so far away, and in the back of her mind, Adoma questioned where would they be and what they'd be doing in a decade, or whether any of them would even remember their promise. 10 years later, they had. When the driver pulled the car to a stop, Adoma looked up at the sleek yacht and realized how much her life had changed in those years. Chirping seagulls greeted her as she stepped onto the shiny redwood deck. Entering the cabin, Adoma smiled in gratitude. After years as a struggling songwriter, she finally made it when Sasha Pierce, one of the biggest stars in music, released her song Drop It. The sexy lyrics had not pleased her devout father, but the song provided financial freedom. With the means to maintain the luxury boat she now inspected before her friend's arrival. At present, she had everything she'd always wanted: a booming career, a loving husband, and plans to have children. While Adoma continued to prepare, she wondered with her friends' busy schedules and with each of them arriving from different destinations around the world, who would be the first to arrive? Casey, Maya, or Jenna? Each of the women was distinctly different. She marveled at how they had become friends, and even more amazing, how they remained so close. In the passing years, life hadn't stood still for any of them. As she thought about each of the women, she chuckled at how wild Casey used to be. Then, the incoming breeze reminded Adoma of a beautiful spring day many years ago in Maya's convertible. Maya. "I got a pocket full of sunshine," roared through the speakers of Maya's convertible as she and Adoma drove to the shopping mall on a gorgeous spring day. The new leaves shimmered under the puffy clouds that hung lazily in the azure sky. The song that Maya loved so much had played repeatedly, reflected her personality to a T. Being around Maya felt like being in the sunshine, Adoma thought. She makes you feel so warm and so loved. Maya had that effect on everyone, especially men. Why wouldn't the men like her, Adoma often thought as she observed both men and women stare at her strikingly beautiful friend. But Maya was affectionate with everyone, giving kisses on the cheek and generous hugs for greetings. "Isn't it such a lovely day?" Maya asked in her soft melodic voice as she lightly brushed her wind-blown scarf from her flushed, burnt sienna-colored cheeks. Maya's mannerisms and regal disposition suggested former privilege, reminding Adoma of her mother. But Adoma knew little of Maya's family, which she spoke of elusively and with reservation. In general, other than at the onset of their friendship, Maya rarely discussed her past. So Adoma had to construct Maya's former life in her imagination, building from pieces of information shared during wine, when each sip loosened Maya's reserve. In those moments, Adoma received glimpses into her friend's past. What Adoma had determined was that while Maya had escaped her former world, she had not healed from its scars. Adoma met Maya after Jenna and Casey, but instantly shared a deep kinship with her. Maya, like Adoma, had been born in Africa, but in East Africa, thousands of miles apart in distance, physically and culturally, and from Adoma's West African roots. And though their ancestral lands differed greatly, between them they shared an inexplicable closeness as African women in a world that often felt unkind toward their heritage. With time, Adoma and Maya's connection grew, and as such, so did their affection. In turn, Maya disclosed more of her past. "Adoma," Maya murmured one evening. "Yes, Adoma," gingerly responded, sensing Maya wished to share something profound. "I don't look exactly like other women down there," Maya revealed. Adoma, never at a loss for words, gulped and stared at Maya with widening eyes. Maya, suddenly hesitant to clarify, decided against sharing her secret. To Adoma's relief, she stood up from the sofa and pretended to check her phone. The tears brimming in Maya's eyes indicated an intensely painful memory, one that Adoma did not feel prepared to hear. That moment of near revelation gave Adoma another hint of the differences in their upbringing. The more Adoma learned of Maya's past, the more she marveled at how Maya, who had been through so much, remained so full of love. Maya never seemed bitter, but rather acted with generosity and affection towards everyone, friends and strangers alike. Adoma smiled as she thought of her beautiful friend and looked forward to being engulfed in her hug. Casey. Most women enjoy decadent food, good wine, and physical intimacy. Casey enjoyed them all too, in no particular order, sometimes all at once, and definitely to the point of compulsion. While she sought intimate contact, in reality she reveled in all physical pleasures. Adoma hadn't been bothered by Casey's addictive behavior or her self-proclaimed nympho status. She loved that Casey was so fun to spend time with, and their friendship that originated in high school developed further in college. Then, during school breaks, the two of them would take trips to the nearest party destination, New Orleans. They loved the city, not for its historical or cultural significance, but for the French Quarter and its lewd energy. Adoma likened their city playground to a whore because people travel from all over the world to trash it, use it, and then go home to their normal and respectable lives, with their memories submerged fuzzy into their recollections. For the same reason, she and Casey loved it. Then, she has many memories of their times there, but a legendary one in particular sprang to mind. That night, they met two Creoles who invited them to a party in their hotel suite. Casey ensnared the cuter of the two men with her innocent-looking face, doe-like sable eyes, and copper-toned skin. She didn't hesitate to use her appearance to her advantage, possessing just the right mix of beauty and mystery to enchant the men she met. Her suggestive overtures raised their hopes to the possibility that more could be in store. That night, Casey and her date clung to each other to avoid falling as they stumbled into the adjoining bedroom. Within moments, the other partygoers in the suite glanced at each other in discomfort as the sounds from the activities behind the door filtered through the walls. Adoma felt like disappearing, embarrassed for herself and Casey. Within minutes, Casey and her both stumbled out of the room. As Adoma, humiliated, gathered her belongings to escape the judgmental stares, Casey looked around the room at their disdainful faces. "Whatever," she said, as she shrugged her shoulders and sneered at them. "It's New Orleans. Why are they so surprised?" she said to Adoma as they collected their purses and slipped out the door. Casey might have been free and loose in the evenings while on exploits, but come morning, she would never discuss the previous night. That's when her classy alter ego would emerge. Both sides of Casey would fight for attention. However, the salacious personality would usually win the battle, causing her to have impulsive sex, overdrink, and when she would never appear to do those things during the day. Together, Casey and Adoma always partnered in crime, but Casey always took things up a notch. And Adoma, entertained by Casey's antics, loved it. Eventually, Casey's behavior impacted her grades, inflicted a great deal of emotional pain, and alienated her from people who judged her for her actions. And Casey, as she shared with Adoma, hated to be judged. Jenna. "I'm so sick of these wannabe people wearing all those dumb t-shirts with the face of that animal on it," Jenna said, after the bearded hipster with the dark blue jeans and the popular red and black t-shirt of the times passed their table. Jenna continued to gulp her coffee as her eyes swelled with tears. "They have no idea what he stood for, and worse, all the people he killed or had killed." Adoma never gave a thought to the t-shirts, but felt terribly sorry for her friend who became so upset by the shirt that she almost wept in her coffee. Jenna didn't expound much on why she cried that day, but from the strong emotions the t-shirt evoked, Adoma guessed that it involved memories from before her arrival to the U.S., after she and her family fled their country. That day, the trendy coffee shop provided a rare scene, Jenna crying or exhibiting any emotional vulnerability at all. Usually stoic, she hardly let anyone know what went on in her head. Her sepia-colored eyes were blank and void of emotion most of the time, even when she was excited. Sometimes, though, and only just sometimes, you could see her smile when discussing certain topics that touched her heart, like the simple childhood memories of growing up in her native country. Jenna met Adoma shortly after Adoma's arrival. They were both the new kids in school. As recent immigrants, they were both old enough to keep more than a slight accent from their home countries. Therefore, they stood out terribly in an unpopular way, leading to many taunts and teases, and had befriended each other as a means of childhood survival. Adoma, coming from an English-speaking country, managed communication more quickly and grammatically spoke English as well as the other children in the neighborhood. "Adoma, please teach me good English," Jenna had begged. "They will keep teasing us until we look and sound as much like them as we can." Adoma agreed. She definitely agreed with Jenna's astute observation. Since that childhood day, they were best friends, even after Adoma's family moved to a better neighborhood. However, despite their connection after high school, their phone calls to each other decreased. So that gives you an insight into the characters. And I'm going to read an excerpt from one of Maya's scenes. Maya was the character that had the connection with Adoma at the beginning and had a secret that she wanted to share with Adoma. Maya fled her country with her family, and also Maya was a sucker for love. So this is a scene from Maya's, the unraveling of her second marriage. It was an impromptu marriage because Maya loved being in love. After a crazy first half of a courtroom scene, Maya finds her inner strength. Let me find mine and also quench my thirst. And it's amazing when you write, sometimes it's like, I don't know, I've never been married, I've never been divorced, so I don't know how I got to this. But it's quite emotional reading, even writing this, it was interesting. So, courtroom scene, Maya ending her marriage. Maya, with an improved stride and new resolve, returned to the witness stand to finish her testimony. Didn't you know about your inability to conceive a child before you got married? You tricked him into marrying you, didn't you? Even though you knew you could not give him a child, you knew how much he wanted kids and you stole that from him, didn't you? You robbed my client of his ability to marry someone who could carry on his family name, the opposing counsel forcefully asked. Your Honor, objection. Counsel is clearly badgering the witness. Sustained, the judge replied dryly. Maya inhaled and spoke humbly. No, that's not true at all. I too wanted children and did not learn about my condition until after the doctor's appointment. I would never trick anyone into marrying me. He's a liar, not me. On the outside, she appeared emotionally intact and in control, even after Roger swore on the Bible and ignored his oath during his testimony. On the inside, she brimmed with anger that grew the more she spoke and the more he spoke. She continually wrung her hands under her desk to calm herself amidst the venomous lies Roger spewed to the jury. His salacious untruths, along with his theatrics, feigned grievances, and spectacular displays, kept the jurors wrapped in attention. When he finished, he then honed his chestnut-colored eyes on Maya, expecting her to buckle under his gaze. But she didn't. She wouldn't. She had this. As Roger left the stand, he strutted in front of Maya, swaggering as if to remind her of what she would be missing. But she no longer cared. He now disgusted her. Maya didn't want Roger to see that, though. The emotions brewed inside of her, bubbling to the brim, but she suppressed them, jotted notes to her attorney, and moved on, for the moment. Then during a brief recess, as the lawyers prepared for closing arguments, she observed Roger and his attorney conferring. The slightest of acts, a dismissive hand motion, reminded Maya of the times he dismissed her in their marriage, and it triggered her. Back then, every time she needed something, materially, physically, or emotionally, he ignored her. I gave Roger my all to be a good wife, and he didn't care. He treated me the same way he just motioned his hands, Maya thought to herself. I got this, Maya repeated the mantra to calm herself, but her hand still shook as she wrote notes to her attorney. The extra pressure Maya placed on the pencil almost broke it, but Maya still continued to write. And then she leaned over to her attorney and spoke in her pleasant, reserved voice, crackling in the moment as if a stronger person inside it wished to break through. At first, Maya eked a few words under her breath. Everything was done to me. I have been a victim of other people's wills since childhood. Maya gazed at her attorney as if begging him to understand. I have done nothing to deserve this. I have suffered far too long. And then Maya and her voice gathered more strength in response to the irritation she felt from her environment. She continued, since my birth, things, unfair, terrible things have happened to me, have been done to me without my permission, even though I was an innocent child. Maya paused before continuing, unable to stop. I was cut in my most delicate area when I was young, not even old enough to know it was against my will, because I didn't even know what will was. I even had to flee my country, and I have lost what I've loved, including my first husband. Bad things have happened that I've had no voice in. Bad things were done, terrible things. Then Maya's voice grew stronger, loud enough for the opposing counsel and Roger to hear. I have almost lost hope, and I have cried so many times for my losses. I have cried for my past loss, my present loss, and as you all have heard, for my future loss. I have been told that I cannot have children. I wasn't supposed to be this way, and wouldn't have been if it weren't for what happened to me when I was a girl. If one of my first and only dreams was to be a mother and have a child of my own, what hope is there for me to cling to now? Maya turned her attention to Robert and spoke defiantly. Do you think that you are the only one with nothing to lose? So you think you have the power that you can hurt me because you want to take everything that I've worked for? She asked incredulously. Then she stopped for a moment. Well, Maya said before frenetically reaching into her purse. Have it all. Maya pulled out a handful of $20 bills stuffed with some tens and threw all the money she had in her purse forcefully yet aimlessly at Roger. Here, she exclaimed, have it all, she yelled at Roger, a deep cry from within, the deepest part of her womb. A scream that would make anyone stop and shudder. Take all this money, wait, she paused and kicked some bills over in his direction. You dropped some, here, pick it up from the floor like the dirty dog you are. Do you want my money? You can have it. Maya, please, her attorney grabbed her, pulled at her wrist to pull her back in a chair, but her force was too great. I will not stop. I always do what's right. Always put others' needs in front of my own. And I am tired. I am so tired. I've had enough. She tromped rapidly towards Roger with burned purpose. The bailiff, already heading her way to the contact, could not reach Maya in time to stop her. Maya scooped some money off the floor and then about a foot away from him attempted to stuff the bills right into Roger's mouth. If he wants my money, he can have it. How about that? Roger raised his muscular arms, bulging with veins in the sign of an X, and blocked Maya's contact. So Maya scooped up the money again and started dealing the bills into the air, showering him with the money as a customer does a stripper until the bailiff yanked her away. The red-faced judge spit furiously. "Order! Counselor, get a hold of your client or she will be in contempt right this moment. He doesn't deserve 1 penny of my earnings, and I will no longer let him control me. Enough!" Maya continued as the bailiff dragged her to her attorney, who gently tugged on her arm and coaxed her back into her seat. But Maya said in an even louder voice, "He can have it all, you know," nodding her head as she spoke. Then she changed her tone to an exaggerated, nonchalant manner. "It's just money. He needs it more than I do, which makes him weak. So he can have the money. Believe me, he won't break me. He won't break my bank. He won't break my spirit. He won't break me. I have my brain. I have my work ethic. I can rebuild." She huffed, and then finally she rested.